You never heard a word I said. You kept on stepping, never turning your head. Yeah, oh girl, I'm doing fine without you, baby. I'm doing fine now without you, baby. Doing fine now, baby. Without you, baby. I'm doing fine now without you, baby. I'm doing fine now.
Anti-Afro-Svengali, so this is part 2, covering the situation with Umar Johnson just absolutely discombobulating during the teleabuse calls. While when I say teleabuse, I'm going to emphasize the abuse part because the things that were going on that phone call or that whatever you want to call it, teleabuse session, aside from what you heard, was absolutely horrendous. Someone needs that in their life. I mean, the robocalls were a great relief. The robocalls are what saved a lot of parents because they couldn't understand what Umar Johnson was saying, because what got through what I heard, why would you need something like that? Every person needs to say, I'm doing fine. They were doing fine before Umar Johnson came into their life. And what has he done other than take money from them? No, don't hear me exclusively. I want you to hear for yourself the kind of abuse that Umar Johnson wielded against these black parents. And he wants them to think that they need him. It was really sad. Again, the robocalls were a salvation. And I want to say this before I play the tapes. I had nothing to do with, I'm saying this for the edification of the supporters. I would not waste my time dialing into anything that Umar Johnson had. Now, the fact that other people did it, that's what they decide to do. It's nauseating for me to even think about doing anything that's going to connect me like directly to Umar Johnson. But like I said, he has PO'd a lot of people for the way he has abused our community, and people are clearly fed up. Mind you, this was before January 1st. This was what, December 28th, I believe it was. So people were already preparing. They already knew Umar Johnson was full of it. Without further ado, let me play the horrendous, vile, and abusive treatment Umar Johnson subjected our black parents to. Stay tuned and I will return.
Umar Johnson, who am I speaking to? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Cedar Hill.
Cedar Hill. Cedar Hill, Texas?
Yes.
How far is that from Dallas?
I think about like maybe 20, less than 20 miles away from Dallas.
You coming to the lecture today?
I really wasn't. I'm not going to lie because I just found out.
So I came all the way to Dallas and you ain't going to come out to support me. It's okay. I'm picking with you, sister. It's okay.
I know.
Go ahead with your question.
Okay, so actually the caller that was on said the suspect children.
Free. And all the children are free. So tell me why she not coming with her 5 kids.
Children create a calendar. The parents have to be disciplined.
So you thinking about homeschooling, right?
Well, it's not actually for myself. It's for my daughter. She has 5 children.
Your daughter got 5 children and she won't be at the lecture today. Is that what you're telling me? She got 5 babies. And the only school psychologist helping y'all is 20 minutes from your house and y'all not going to come out. I'm only picking on you because I want people to see how sometimes I don't know if we serious about things. Because I'm 20 minutes away from y'all. She got 5 kids. And you calling into the parent conference, but I'm 20 minutes away from your house. And she's not coming to get the information she needs today. I got a little bit of a problem with that. As a parent of 5 children, I got a little bit of a problem with that. But let me...
Okay, listen, of course, me being a mother, I'm going to be in defense of my child. She didn't even know you were here.
But y'all know now. And all the children are free. And all the children are free. So tell me why she not coming with her 5 kids today.
You just going to sit on me, so I'm going to listen.
I'm picking with you. Let me give you the 5. My first 10 years of speaking publicly from 2000 to 2010. The first 10 years. And this is the second years, 2010 to 2019. I never charged for 10 years. I charge now to offset the expenses. Okay. And it is a sacrifice. And so when I talk to you and you tell me that you live 15 minutes from this venue, that I'm paying the rent. Texas theater is not cheap. Texas theater is not cheap to rent it. Texas theater is not cheap. And you call and you have a question, but you live 15 minutes away from where I'm speaking at. And your children are free. The elders are free. And you're not going to come, but I just flew several hundred miles. Okay. Probably more than 1,000 miles I flew. I woke up early from my Washington lecture, drove 3 hours to Philly, barely making the flight. I had a 6-hour layover in Atlanta yesterday because the flight got delayed. Okay. I didn't get here till late last night. And you're 15 minutes away and you rather call and get a question answered than come and hear me when all your children are free and you got 5 of them. You got 5 babies. I'm the only black school psychologist who's doing what I'm doing in this country. And you won't even drive 15 minutes, even though I've flown multiple hours and spent X thousands of dollars to make this event happen. I don't get profit on these events. Once in a while, I get a profit. At best, they pay for themselves. Many times, even when I sell out, it's a financial loss because I take care of the people around me. So that's one of the reasons why I'm glad that we're closing out this period of my life. The lecture period where I just intensely lectured is coming to a close, because that shows how much a lot of you don't value my work. It shows how a lot of you don't take me and what I do seriously. You don't recognize it. And I want to be honest, and I'm going to go to the next question. I have a caller on the line. I see you, caller. I got you muted, but I'm going to take you in a minute. Okay. Okay. But one of the reasons I haven't done a lot of black parent teleconferences this year, aside from having a very difficult year, I've had 2018 was not good to me, okay, at all, okay? But one of the reasons I haven't done the call as consistently as I have is because when I got brought up on the state board charges the first week in January, y'all remember that? When I came back from China and had to go straight to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, to face charges, that day in Harrisburg, okay, it was a small courtroom where we were in. And there was probably about 100 brothers and sisters who came out to support me. Shout out to all the brothers and sisters who came out to Harrisburg on that cold January day. I want to thank y'all, because that day I really saw who really gave a damn about my 20 years of sacrifice for black children. It hurt me that day. I was hurt because for 20 years, I've saved a generation of black children. For 20 years, I've saved black parents, mostly for free. But on the day I needed y'all, I'm just coming real today. We're going to talk about this in Dallas. This is the last lecture. I'm laying it all out in Dallas. So if you in Texas, you need to get there today, because you're going to hear some stuff you ain't heard me say before. If you live in Texas, you better get there today at 4 o'clock, because you're going to hear some stuff you never heard before. But brothers and sisters, I was hurt. I was hurt driving back to Philadelphia. I was hurt. And some of you Negroes was 2 hours away in Philadelphia. I saved you and your kids. You didn't come to support me. A lot of you in New York I've helped. You didn't drive to support me. Connecticut, Delaware, Maryland, D.C., the Carolinas. Some of you was 2-3 hours away, and you didn't even come to support me on the day I needed you the most. That day in Harrisburg, I learned that all my sacrifice meant nothing to my people. But my point is, it should have been so many black people out there after 20 years of saving our kids There should have been so many black people there, they should have been forced to move it to one of the larger courtrooms. Y'all let me down. I just want black parents to know it and the black community to know it. Y'all let me down that day. When I needed you, when my credentials was on the line, y'all left me hanging. So one of the reasons it's been so hard to get up and do this call is because I said that one day, after 20 years, that one day I needed black parents, y'all did not come to my aid, including many of you who've worked with me. My parent association, my Team Pan-African, most of you saw no desire to come and support me that day. Very few of the people I've worked with closely showed up. It wasn't important enough. It was too cold for you. You had other things to do. Y'all left me hanging. And I just want you to know I didn't forget that. It wasn't important enough. It was too cold for you. You had other things to do. Y'all left me hanging. And I just want you to know I didn't forget that.
Well, what do you have to say about that? Some of you might be speechless. In case you are, let me keep talking. I told you, Umar Johnson doesn't do anything for free. So you parents out there who think Umar Johnson is helping you by giving you the advice that he's given what happens to be 99.9999% incorrect, here you go. There you go. Here it is. Umar Johnson claiming to do things for free. But there is the punchline. Nothing is free. The only reason why Umar Johnson was desperate to get a mother out there with 5 children because he knew she was a single mother and she has access to government benefits. Umar Johnson wanted that debit card set up so he can guilt this parent into automatic withdrawals. Nothing Umar Johnson does for you is free. He promised to give away backpacks and never gave them away. He won't even give away any of those mite-filled pillows. Any interaction with Umar Johnson is going to cost you something. Your mind, your body, your soul, your bank account, your wallet, your dignity, your pride, your self-respect. And you heard with your own ears how Umar Johnson treats you and what he thinks about you. He doesn't give a damn about you. It is exclusively about Umar Johnson. He is going to sit here and tell a mother with 5 children, and thankfully her mother defended her, but the problem is that they even called in. This can't be the first time they've been exposed to Umar Johnson's abuse. So it's a good sign. I'll give her credit that they didn't go. Umar Johnson wanted people there because he no longer has the GoFundMe, GoFraud account. He didn't care how many people showed up before because he knew if he could get anybody there, he would just direct them to the GoFundMe or GoFraud website, and he would actually stand over them while they're on their phones and making sure they donate. And he would mention it over and over again. He no longer has access to GoFundMe, GoFraud, so he really needs people to show up to set up that automatic debit. I mean, horrendous abuse of black people. And he wants you to think that the white man is your worst enemy. What is Umar Johnson doing for you parents out there? He hasn't done a damn thing. All he is doing is giving you information based on the little small sliver of facts that you're giving Umar Johnson. He's looked at no documents. He's spoken to no other professionals. He hasn't spoken to your child. He knows absolutely nothing about your situation. He just tells you things based on what he's triggered about. And he's triggered by a lot of things. There is nothing that Umar Johnson can do for you that's going to help you. Umar Johnson is only seeking to get you there in person so he can hijack your bank account. If you weren't going to go when he had the GoFundMe or GoFraud, he would just refer you to the GoFundMe. He wouldn't give a damn. He knew he always had the GoFundMe, GoFraud. Now, have you ever thought about the fact if Umar Johnson was the most requested, quote, scholar on the planet, why would he have to be paying all his expenses? You think that Cornel West worries about his expenses? You think Hillary Clinton worries about her expenses? You think Obama worries about his expenses? Forget the salary that they make, the retirement, whatever they're getting. Their expenses when they travel to an engagement. They do not worry about expenses. You think Diamond and Silk worries about their expenses? You can feel how you want about Diamond and Silk. They crack me up because they're getting booked in all these ritzy, chateaus. Their expenses are covered. They get a fee. People sponsor them. That is what happens when you truly are in demand as a speaker. You do not pay your own I've never heard of that. You don't pay your own expenses when you were doing speaking engagements. I have never heard of that before, except for Boyce Watkins and Umar Johnson. Those are the only two people I know of that pay their own expenses. That's because they are begging people to bring them on, not the other way around. But you heard how incredibly abusive Umar Johnson is to our parents. And he tried to say he was just kidding. He wasn't kidding because he came back to the topic, and that wasn't even the whole thing. I didn't even play everything. That's going to be another video because he went into all this other stuff, people. It was so abusive, and he just kept on and on and on and on, trying to guilt people into, feeling bad about his financial situation. He stole money. He stole money for 10 years, and he has absolutely nothing to show for it other than continuing to beg, harangue, abuse, pressure, and guilt black people out of more money. Why, people? Why? Because he needs the money to survive. This is a living wage for Umar Johnson. You have proof right here. What professional treats people like this? That's just out. I'm telling you, people, I have never heard any professional person speak like this who's serving a client. That's like me saying, let me give an example. I'm going to give you a real life example. Like, okay, I deal with people who have issues with substance abuse. That's not unusual. There are a lot of people who have substance abuse issues. And it is so common that I'm going to mention this. So I'm not speaking about one person in particular. Over the years, you ask people, okay, they have a substance abuse problem. One of the questions that you ask from time to time, if you see, have some issues, you ask them, when's the last time they used? I haven't used in 3 months, 4 months. Okay, so it's time to do a drug test. Urine screen sample has to be given. And we get the results. I mean, we have all the releases. The results come back, and this person's system is all jacked up with all kinds of drugs you can imagine. So, of course, when I see the person again, I'm going to address it. But do I say to the person, you liar, you tested dirty for this and that? My God, how can you lie to me like that? How can you do this to me? You're making me look bad as a therapist because you are taking drugs and I've been doing therapy, and now you're going to make my reputation is bad. Don't you care about me? Oh my God, look what you're doing to my professional reputation. That's what Umar Johnson, that's ridiculous, people. No reputable person deals with anybody they're helping like this. Umar Johnson bases everything exclusively on how he feels. How many times have I stated it here, people, on this channel? I will continue to state it. Your feelings as a therapist, as a helping person, as a school psychologist, as a doctor, as a nurse, as a social worker, your personal feelings are irrelevant when it comes to helping somebody or dealing with a client. Why the hell would a client have to be, burdened with how you feel or your financial situation? That is so inappropriate, people. That is it's abusive. You are burdening the client like they don't already have issues. You have issues. We have issues. I have issues. You have issues. But guess what? They're not to be burdened, placed upon the client as a burden. And that is what Umar Johnson does to people. I mean, he doesn't care anything about them and their families and their lives. And it's evident by the way he talks to them, by the way he clearly feels about them. He is in total and complete disregard for who they are as human beings. Only I matter. I don't care if you have 5 children. Who in the world would say something like that? I've had people who didn't show to therapy because they had childcare issues. Some people have brought their children to the session, and I've already told them at the very beginning, you cannot bring children into the therapy session. Like, children are not involved. Say it's an adult and they have childcare issues and they bring their child to therapy. That's not allowed. I make that very clear. So what I say to them, I say that we're going to have to reschedule and we can talk about it. Give me a call, but something has come to, I'll do something very discreet. I don't say you can't bring, I told you not to bring your kids. I do not treat adults like children. I treat adults like adults. And so I tell them to call me. Everything's fine. Just give me a call when you get free and I can go over what's happening. No problem. Like, I reassure everything is okay. I'm nice to the kid and everything. And then I just remind the person, remember at the beginning when we signed our agreements, children are not allowed in your therapy sessions. If you have an issue with childcare, just call me, let me know, we can reschedule. You treat people like human beings. Then if a person is having a persistent issue with childcare, then that's when I get in to help the person address the issue. That's what you do. That's what a professional does. Umar Johnson is not offering any childcare. He's not offering a damn thing. He's not offering vouchers. He doesn't care. He just wants to get these people there so he can get into their bank accounts. I mean, it's just so, it's a nightmare thinking about how he talks to people, how he treats people. It's so unbearable. Again, I was salvaged by the fact that most of the calls were interrupted. And I want to thank again one of our, anti-fraud warriors out there who alerted me to this. This is just parents, my God. If you think Umar Johnson is helping you, you may feel that it's help, but that's the scary part. No professional has a right to impose upon you an obligation to support that professional. The only relationship you are to have with a professional is a professional relationship. It is called a dual relationship when that professional starts imposing other things upon you, like you have to come to my lecture, you have to pay for this, I'm offering you that. That is called exploitation of a client, and that is one of the most serious ethical violations any professional can commit. Any parent that was subjected to Umar Johnson's abuse can file a complaint, and anybody hearing what happened can file a complaint. What do you think the regulating board, Umar Johnson claims to have what does he say he has? A school psychologist certificate. He says he has a principal certificate. Well, those certificates, those credentials should be subjected to revocation based on how he has treated our people. And I stand by my statement. This has gone on for so long. Umar Johnson's even telling you how long he's been abusing our people. If you don't like the outcome of your engagement with people, stop doing it. You cannot force people to pay you money to come and see you. Repeat, Umar Johnson does nothing for free. It is a lead-in to get into your bank account. This is classic affinity fraud and affinity abuse. Umar Johnson is lying. He's saying he's going to give up lecturing. He said that last year, people. Just like he said last year he was going to open up a school on January 1st or make some announcement. And again, people Robo called him into oblivion because they knew he was lying and he wasn't going to make any such announcement And he didn't make any such announcement. Bald face liar. And let me tell you something else. Pointing out somebody's lies is not slander and it's not libel. Slander is when you're speaking, libel is when you're writing. If you point out that somebody has lied and will not show receipts of money and you say they're stealing the money, that's not slander. Okay, sue for slander and let's get into court. Or libel, whichever one, if the person's writing it down. We're going to go to court and this is what's going to happen. Well, before we go to court, the person's going to request financial records from Umar Johnson. He cannot back up anything that he says. He's a liar. If he says he has an attorney.
I want to make sure the attorneys dotted the I and crossed the T. Because as soon as I announce it, some of you Negroes going to do all you can to destroy it. I'm happy because we this close to FDMG. We this close to FDMG. And this is on January 1st, I plan to go live. On New Year's Day, I plan to go live. I might wait till the 2nd or 3rd, but next week I plan to go live. I might wait till the 2nd or 3rd, but next week I do plan to go live. I want to make sure the attorneys dotted the I and crossed the T.
Oh my God. Produce the name of the lawyer. Produce the name of the attorney you're working with. R. Kelly's attorney's on TV talking. People who have nothing to hide come out and say, call my lawyer if you think I'm lying. Because Umar Johnson is full of malarkey, 50 feet high and 100 feet deep. You can't see him for all the malarkey he's covered in. And all the parents out there, you're not getting anything from Umar Johnson. These interventions he was talking about, I told you before, people, Umar Johnson is a polarizer, a black and white thinker. Again, not colors, either or. Those quote unquote interventions he was giving parents, people, they're not valid. You don't ever give a person two choices. You don't give a person a choice. You empower people. People get to make their own decisions. We are not slaves anymore. Umar Johnson is so horrendously, horrifically, verbally, and emotionally abusive to our black parents. None of what he says is true, and none of what he says is helping. And what the hell? He says the same thing, this either or thing, when it comes to the children. The parents are calling up and saying, okay, my child is doing this. Just an example, you heard in the clips, or either the child is thirsty for attention or is spoiled. What? What the hell is that? I've never heard of anything like that. Is not a clinical intervention. That is not helping a parent. That is not something you would ever say to a parent. A thirsty child? Oh my God. A thirsty child would need to have some water or some juice. That's what you would do with a thirsty child. This is crazy, people. I can't believe this is happening, and this is consistent. Whenever I try to tell people about Umar Johnson, they do not believe me. I have to actually let them hear what he says, and they still think it's some sort of a joke. They are completely and totally flabbergasted with the stuff that comes out of his mouth. If he was helping so many people, why are we in this quandary right now? He needs money. That's why. And he's angry because people are finding out what a freaking fraud he is, and he cannot stop that. You can't stop people from finding out you're a fraud if you're a fraud. That is why he's trying to shut me up. That's why he's trying to send people out here to find me. He's so desperate to find my picture. What are you going to do with my picture? What the hell do you think you're going to do with my picture? If you ever come anywhere near me, the police have already told me what my rights are. I have very long discussion with the police. Same with any of you Umarians. It is not my problem that Umar Johnson is a freaking thief and a liar who got cold busted. Using my profession to make money to live off. He has no intention of opening, buying, operating, building a school, and he never did. So what he wants to do now is start blaming everybody because he got cold busted lying. What the hell is that? A real man stands up to what he did and admits his mistakes and owns up to his lies. Umar Johnson is trying to blame everybody under the sun, the gays, the lesbians, his own dad, the hoteppers, me. Did I tell Umar Johnson to steal? The white man, let's not forget the white man. Jealous Negroes. Who else? Ugly black feminist. The Russians. And of course, me and this other person, just the two of us, we're the only two people that have an issue with Umar Johnson, and we are calling his TeleAbuse line, and we're jamming up his sessions. And let's not forget the North Philly Ghost Goblin Goons. Maybe there's a conspiracy they concocted against Umar Johnson. It's everybody else's fault. And don't forget the baby mamas. Don't forget the judges. Don't forget the court system that only, sides with the men. In Philadelphia, especially if you have girls, you won't get custody of your kids. Have you ever heard of somebody speak such garbage? I certainly haven't. The list goes on and on and on and on. The groups and the individuals that I mentioned, not one of these people told Umar Johnson to lie. Umar Johnson did that all on his own. And lies are always discovered. Eventually, you get caught. Thank God I did. And I'm sure most of you listened to your parents when they told you, don't lie to us because we're going to find out anyway. That was enough for me to never tell a lie to my parents. And I'm saying never. I'd rather sit there and look at them like with a silly look on my face because I didn't want to speak the lie. Okay? I was convinced that my parents would find out. Now, obviously, everybody on the face of this earth has told a lie. I'm not going to sit here and say I've never lied. That's ridiculous. But I have never even imagined concocting such a, foolish, going nowhere but hell scheme to rip off my community, knowing good and damn well I had no intention of ever doing what I stated I would do. Never. And I would never even consider doing something like that. And then up here telling people they're wrong for expecting answers. My God, people. My God. You see what we have before us. Umar Johnson knows he's cold busted. He never thought in his wildest of dreams that he would ever be in a situation like this. He looked at all those other frauds out there and thought, hey, I can get away with this. This is easy. Just stay in the black community. Just stay in the black community where people will be harassed and abused if they dare to speak up. And that did happen. Some of that happened. But guess what? Not all black people fold. Not all black folks will remain quiet. Not all black folks can be intimidated into silence. No, not all black people will tolerate threats. And you're hearing one of them speak right here. And I know many of you are like that. Umar Johnson gambled and he lost. If he thinks I'm going to shut my mouth, there's not a damn thing this unindicted criminal fraud can say or do to me that's going to shut me up. I don't have any allegiance to Umar Johnson. I don't have any allegiance to a thief, to a liar, to a fraud who even so desperate to keep his lies hidden that he tried to get his own daddy taken out. What kind of you think a man like that, excuse me, I don't want to say man, you think a person like that is safe to be around? God, people, please. And you think he has saved a single life? Oh my God. Think about what you're hearing. Think if he has saved all of these lives, why is he haranguing and abusing and badgering black folks to come out and see him in Texas? Why is he like abusing a mother with 5 children because she made an independent choice that she's not going to come see his funky ass? He's full of shit and he's been found out. And there's more to come, people. This is not it. Umar Johnson deserves to be exposed for the fraud and the deception he has perpetrated upon our people. It is not my fault. It is not your fault. Umar Johnson made the independent decision to deceive, to lie, and abuse and steal from black folks. So he's got to deal with the consequences. And still, no announcement. I knew he would not make an announcement. Actually, I will try to find that message that I posted. And I stated he'll try to say nothing. Someone else had stated that as well. And I said, he's going to have to do something, though. Something will eventually have to be stated one way or another. But I knew initially he was going to try to not say anything. And he miscalculated. There are so many people. Someone pointed this out to me. So many more brothers and sisters posting videos about what a fraud and a liar Umar Johnson is. So there you go. It never was only me. I wasn't even the one who started this to begin with. But if you want to give me credit, fine, go ahead, give me credit. Fine. A lot of people have contributed to making sure the truth about Umar Johnson has been revealed. And this is a process that will continue to happen. Umar Johnson is exclusively responsible for making the decision to deceive and lie and cheat and bamboozle and shyster our people. And he has Jamal Johnson backing him up. That's a whole nother video I'm going to have to make. Oh my God. Like father, like son, like son, like father. Good and bad, but I don't see the good. I see all the bad. Oh gosh. Now, people, by no means is this over. This will continue until the desired, expected, just result comes out of what Umar Johnson did. He must be held accountable. In the meantime, you might think about changing your bank accounts if you've ever done any business with Umar Johnson, because he is desperate. You heard it in his voice. You need to be just as desperate to make sure you are doing nothing other than maintaining the stance that keeps you safe, and spread the word that your only safety and salvation lies in heeding the warning. Buyer, beware.